DC has created one of the most popular hero teams in the superhero world, but what about all the other groups that are just as deserving of the hype? The series One Star Squadron debuted in 2022. It featured unpopular heroes combining their limited star power to create heroes for you. It's like a mix between Uber, Cameo, and 911. For these C-list heroes, the C stands for capitalism. People use the Heroes for You app for on-demand hero assistance. Situations you may need a hero for include, but are not limited to, alien attacks, transporting sensitive information, birthdays, or getting your kitty out of a tree. No job is too big or small, they will answer the call. I love this idea. Trust and believe, if I were a D or C-list superhero, I would be on here. I also think this idea is so clever from the writer's point of view. They were able to bring back a bunch of characters, so many fun characters all at once. The app and agency was led by Red Tornado, but other heroes you could request were the Heckler. I would request him. His power is literally just being annoying. Just send him to that person you mildly dislike. Takes care of it. Let me know down below who you would sick the Heckler on. Minuteman is available. He has a bunch of powers, but only for 1 minute at a time. There is Flying Fox, who is known for magic things like invisibility and illusions, good for a birthday. There are a bunch more heroes too. That's just a taste of all the options. I just love this idea. Literally all these heroes just deserve better. I have a soft spot for silly superheroes. What can I say? I like to laugh as much as I like the serious stuff. Section 8 made me giggle, specifically this one guy on the superhero team. His name is Defenestrator. Defenestrator from now on will be Mr. D. He literally just goes around with a window and smashes it over villains' heads. In all fairness, defenestration is literally the act of throwing someone out a window. I'm obsessed. Mr. D started out a villain but was recruited to the Hero Squad Section 8 by Hero 6-Pack. The team is made up of just wacky heroes with wacky names. We have Dog Welder. He welds dogs. I'm being so serious. There's Bueno Excelente. That is literally good, excellent in Spanish. Phlegm Gem. He has blinding phlegm. Gross. Friendly Fire. He is the most traditional. He shoots energy blasts. And then there is Jean de Baton. He fights with, take a guess, a baton, and he is French. The entire thing is so camp and also a tiny bit problematic, which is probably why it hasn't picked up much steam. The Metal Men were created by Dr. William Magnus in the New Earth DC universe. The team is an interesting idea, metals with human-like bodies and the capacity to form thoughts and personalities. Dr. William created the Metal Men using his invention, the responsometer. It's a microcomputer that can give metal life. The Metal Men are made up of 5 male metals, gold, tin, mercury, lead, and iron, and 1 female metal, platinum. The team is such a specific brand of hero, so they fought a specific brand of villain too, monsters that appeared due to odd scientific research. The team has fought alongside Batman. Initially they were arrested by Batman because they were framed for something, but their names were cleared eventually. After getting their names cleared, they took down a bunch of evil robots together. The nice thing about the metal heroes is they can literally be remade whenever, as long as Dr. William has his microcomputer and a bit of the metal heroes can be brought back. The metals can also be combined to create the formidable foe alloy. Here's the thing, I spend time on the internet, clearly, and I'm also just a girl, so I will see these videos of people personifying different inanimate things like apps and countries and cars. So I think now is really the time to push the Metal Men. Inanimate objects given life are in right now, trust me. The Challengers of the Unknown have an interesting origin story. They were a bunch of guys on a plane that were flying to go be guests on a radio show called Heroes, later changed to a TV show. They were above average guys though. One was considered a master of skin diving, another a daredevil working in the circus, an Olympic wrestling champion, and trained jet pilot and war hero. Just quite a mix of people. Of course, the plane they were in went down and the Fab Four of course survived. After the crash, they all have that wow, we almost died moment, and they decided that they are all living on borrowed time and that they should challenge the unknown together. Challenging the unknown really is what these guys did. They were also a for-hire service too. They got hired to open Pandora's box. Pandora's box is something you famously should not open. However, they were offered $1 million. Not saying I would do it, but I get it. These guys start kind of taking on jobs that are too out there for others or too hard. They worked with the Pentagon of all places. One member loses their sight along the way, so a different member gives them an eyeball. They go through it. They had created their home base in a mountain. The personification of evil comes by and blows it up. At a certain point, the team really just can't catch a break. Eventually, there are new team members, a games designer, a physicist, a NASCAR driver, and a commercial pilot. What I think is cool about this particular DC team are the people on the team are just people. school. They have semi-regular jobs and just decided to start conquering challenges despite not receiving any superpowers. The Sea Devils, like the Challengers and Batman, were just regular people doing extraordinary things. They appeared in Showcase issue 27 in 1960 but got their own series the next year. The group was made of 4 people. Dane Dorrance was the leader, the other members were his girlfriend Judy Walton, Judy's younger brother Nicky Walton, and friend Biff Bailey. The group spent most of their time underwater, of course. They spent a lot of time living every ocean-obsessed kid's dream. They fought sea monsters and discovered underwater kingdoms. Like truly, if I was guaranteed to never drown, I would join this crew so fast. Spending so much time with aquatic life and fighting in the sea, the group also fought for the sea on land. They are environmentalists, and are suggested to maybe be a bit extreme at times with their methods in the New 52 reboot, but they remain allies to Aquaman. The duality of the universe being manifested in human form has been done so many times, and yet it always hits. Hawk and Dove are another version of this. They were inspired by the political climate of the 1960s, with the characters debuting in 1968. People that were more in favor of war were often referred to as hawks, and the dove is commonly a symbol of peace. So from that, we get the aggressive hawk and the level-headed dove. In the DC universe, the Lords of Chaos and Order decided to bestow powers on a set of brothers, Hank and Don Hall, making them effectively War and Peace. They wore matching outfits, one was red and the other blue. The pair worked well together as Hawk often acted without thinking and Dove would think without action. Hawk was shoot first, ask questions later kind of vibe, whereas Dove made sure to provide the compassion and solutions that didn't require physical conflict. A perfect balance that was unfortunately thrown out of balance when Dawn passed on during the Crisis on Infinite Earths fiasco. It would be disastrous if just war was out here on their own, so a replacement had to be found, and that was Dawn Granger. The Lords chose her because she was level-headed and willing to find compromise and see reason and other perfect peaceful qualities. After the loss of his brother, naturally Hawk took some time getting used to his new counterpart, but eventually accepted her. The characters of Hawk and Dove have plenty of potential, and yet their solo series are never that long. They got some credit on the screen. They made their animated debut in Justice League Unlimited in 2004 episode, then made their live-action debut in 2018's Titans. I am about to put up missing posters for this team because honestly, where did you come from? Where did you go? Husticia is the hero team of Mexico. Justicia is Spanish for justice. The Justice League of Mexico, basically. They first appeared in Suicide Squad, Most Wanted, El Diablo, and Amanda Waller 5. They were in 6 too, but then goodbye, I guess. The team is led by El Dorado. He's almost a Mexican version of Superman. He can fly, and he's really buff. He is also capable of teleporting and minor telepathy. He also really looks like Miguel from Into the Spider-Verse. Anyway, there are 3 other members on the team. Akrara, a skilled martial artist and acrobat that wears a Mayan artifact that gives her teleportation abilities. Then we have El Muerto, an undead hero, which makes him hard to hurt the way you might hurt someone who's alive. And finally, we have E-Man. He wears a suit of armor that gives him superior strength. There are some connections between this team and the Justice League. El Muerto used to idolize Superman, and E-Man received a scholarship from Wayne Enterprises. E-Man and Batman also share similar parent trauma. Each individual hero has had a handful of appearances, it's just the team that hasn't come up much. I think they are neat and should get more chances to show off together. So now we have shed some light on the MIA superhero team for Mexico, now we are heading to look at the main team for Japan. Big science action. The founding members were Boss Bozazuko, he had a flaming head and a bike. Cosmo Racer was an alien android that required specific crystals to power his interstellar traveling. Goriko is a projection that comes from the mind of a young Japanese girl that is currently existing in a sensory deprivation tank. Hammer Suit Zero X is a monster armor made of sturdy metal and has drills for weapons. Junior Waveman is the Japanese version of the Sea Devils mentioned earlier, but this time there are 8 people. The solar physicist known as Rising Sun is on the team as well. A Japanese stuntman known by his hero name Sunburst was on the team but perished in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Finally, Ultimon, a hero dedicated to fighting giant monsters. Since its founding, the team has integrated some new members, and throughout history, big science action has saved Japan from many threats. The team might not be out as much anymore because after Final Crisis, the government confined the Super Squad to their base. We are about to get into the team that was originally published by Image Comics, later DC. The team is Wetworks. Wetworks is an actual term meaning work involving assassination, so you can probably guess the vibe. They are a covert operations team in the Wildstorm universe. Their leader is Jackson Dane. Technically, the original covert op team name was Team 7. The team was sent out to raid this cave, but the cave was already raided when they got there, except for these tubes filled with gold liquid. The team had a lot of remote-controlled weapons on them that happened to start a countdown to detonate while they were inside. Then everything goes wrong all at once, The tubes get shot, the liquid gets on these people and surrounds them, and then the explosives go off. But it turns out the liquid acted like protective armor because it was symbiotes. Adding a sim to someone automatically makes them cooler, but you know what makes them even cooler? When they fight vampires. This team has been running across Eastern Europe making sure they can't remake Twilight. They had lost members along the way and even temporarily stopped because of it. They regrouped after the world cataclysm and were called to Utah, of all places. Turns out someone was trying to make demonite vampire hybrids. In the ensuing fight, the Sims all mutated and the Wetworks team started getting new powers. The new power played a key role in stopping the vampire hybrids from existing. Atomic Fallout seemed to be a popular origin story for heroes. The heroes of Lallor are no different. The heroes of Lallor are a team of 5 heroes. Their parents lived close enough to the site of the atomic fallout on their world that their genes were altered, resulting in their children all being born with powers. The kids were sent away from the planet and decided to come to Earth. They were tricked, bamboozled, lied to by this guy named Dr. Martin King. He made the young heroes think that the Legion of Superheroes were criminals. Why? So he could avenge his brother's death. Because this random group of people from outer space started attacking them, the Legion also thought the heroes of Lallor were the bad guys. They fought for a bit, but soon realized that they were both fighting with good intentions and became friends instead. Unfortunately, one of the Lallor members did pass away, Beast Boy. Not the one you're thinking of, a different guy. You know how I know the heroes of Lallor deserve better? They used one of the characters' name for another hero, and that guy is eons more popular. Their powers are even similar. The Lallor Beast Boy has the power to turn into any animal, and the more popular Beast Boy does the same thing. There were 5 heroes on the team. The others were Gas Girl, she can change her body into any gas. There is a Volvo Lad, he can make his body into any point in human evolution, so he can become an ape or the kind of man humanity can't even imagine yet. Life Last can create living creatures from inanimate objects, Beauty and the Beast core. And finally, Duplicate Boy, he can duplicate any hero's superpowers. Eventually, the surviving 4 make it back to their home planet. They even gained a new member, Splitter, or Arm Fall Off Boy.
Number 10. Doom Patrol. This team of freaks were all victims of accidents caused by the scientist Niles Calder. These accidents made the team members outcasts, but also granted them amazing powers, which made them capable of amazing feats. They also have members who would match up well against many members of the Silver Age Justice League. Their leader, Niles Calder, has a tactical brain that rivals that of Batman. Lucius Reynolds can wield magic and is capable of pyrokinesis, which could make him a problem for Martian Manhunter and could dehydrate Aquaman, who in the Silver Age needed to be exposed to water every hour. Danny the Street could make himself a yellow, inescapable void, thus trapping Green Lantern. One of Kay Chalice's personalities can see the future, making her a good candidate to go up against and counter Flash's super speed. Elastigirl's power to grow to huge heights is similar to Wonder Woman's recurring villain Giganta, making them a good matchup, and Negative Man can produce radiation, which he recently used in the latest World's Finest run by Mark Waid to imitate the effects of Krypton's red sun, meaning that he could depower Superman. He could also use this power to give Batman cancer, so all in all, the Doom Patrol is not to be trifled with. Number 9. The Teen Titans. A team consisting of the various sidekicks and young heroes of the DC universe, many fans would assume that the Justice League would have no trouble taking out this team. But I would argue that the Silver Age version of the team is less powerful than most of the more infamous Titans lineups. I mean, Silver Age Batman is the guy who wore a different colored bat suit every night to try and distract criminals from Robin's broken arm. In a fight between him and Nightwing, Tim Drake, or Damian, I would put my money on any of the Robins who have been on the Titans 9 times out of 10. Silver Age Martian Manhunter's weakness is fire? Well, good luck with Starfire. Superman would probably pair up best against Raven, whose magic would give him some trouble. Miss Martian's mind control would be effective against Green Lantern. Between members like Cyborg, Supergirl, Power Girl, and Beast Boy, I think Aquaman and Wonder Woman could be handled. The only leaguer I'm having trouble with is the Flash. Any ideas? Let me know in the comments. Number 8. The Shazamily. Billy Batson, aka Shazam's family of heroes are a powerful force to be reckoned with, and though their youth and inexperience might be a disadvantage if they were fighting the modern League, you have to remember how often the Silver Age heroes made really bizarre, borderline stupid decisions. Superman and Shazam have a history of going toe-to-toe and are pretty evenly matched, so they pretty much cancel each other out. Black Adam is currently a member of the Shazamily, and when he fought Martian Manhunter in the World War III storyline, Black Adam beat him so hard that he left the planet crying. So no issues there. That leaves 5 Shazam family members: Freddy, Darla, Mary, Pedro, and Eugene, all of whom have the powers of Shazam and their magical tiger Tawny against 4 Leaguers: Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Aquaman. This version of Batman isn't really suited for this kind of fight, so whether or not the remaining 3 League could survive would really depend on how long it would take Black Adam to murder Martian Manhunter. Number 7. The Justice Society. Before the Justice League was introduced in 1960, the superhero team of the DC Universe was the Justice Society of America. They helped the Allied forces in World War II and have helped to keep the world safe ever since. This team gets a lot of points against the League due to the technicality we established in the intro. Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman were all members of both teams, so won't be considered in this hypothetical matchup. While that removes a lot of the League's heavy hitters, the JSA is still left with a considerable roster that would make them a nightmare for the remaining Leaguers. Black Adam is a member of this team as well, so as stated before, he could handle Martian Manhunter like he did in the World War III storyline. In a fight between Silver Age Aquaman and Hawkman and Hawkgirl, Arthur Curry is coming out of it as fish food. The JSA has their own Flash and Green Lanterns in the form of Jay Garrick and Alan Scott, so that would put the JSA on almost even footing. But once you include additional members like Blue Beetle, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher, and Mr. Terrific, I think the JSA takes it through sheer numbers. Number 6. Young Justice. Yet another beloved team of young heroes who were mostly sidekicks who formed their own team, Young Justice wouldn't last long against the modern Justice League, but once again, you have to take into account the weaknesses inherent to the Silver Age versions of the characters. For example, while you might assume that the first Aquaman, Arthur Curry, would wipe the floor with the new Aquaman and former Aqualad, Jackson Hyde, the Silver Age version of Arthur wasn't summoning leviathans or causing tidal waves, he was riding dolphins and hanging out with an octopus named Topo. As I said in the Titans entry, Tim Drake vs Silver Age Batman is no contest. Teen Lantern might not be a match for Green Lantern, but if any member of the team simply painted themselves yellow, they would probably be fine. Superboy would probably take Superman by surprise with the sheer level of brutality he was capable of, and although he probably wouldn't win, if he teamed up with a character like Sideways who can open rifts to other dimensions, they could probably get him off the board for a while. Martian Manhunter could be trouble, but Jenny Hex's power negation abilities and the sheer power of characters like Amethyst and Naomi McDuffie, I think they could handle him. Wonder Girl and Silver Age Wonder Woman are probably about on par, and Impulse would be able to at least slow down the Flash, but the Young Justice ringer is Summer Pickens, who can dial her H-phone and be replaced with a hero from the Heroverse who can handle the task for her. Number 5. Justice League Dark. This subset of the League is dedicated to dealing with supernatural or mystic threats to the Earth, and has many of DC's most powerful magic wielders as members. Wonder Woman was a member of both teams, so she won't be considered in this entry. A member like Deadman, who can possess people, would be a good way to take out the Flash. The demon Etrigan almost killed the modern Batman in Kevin Smith's Widening Gyre, so Silver Age Bats is totally screwed. He's also yellow, so he could cause a lot of problems for Green Lantern. Superman's magic weakness would make him particularly vulnerable to all of the members of this team, but mostly Zatanna. And don't tell me you wouldn't love to see Silver Age Aquaman go up against the chain-smoking magic wielder John Constantine, who could just use magic to dehydrate him. All that leaves is Martian Manhunter, while the Dark Justice League still has a surplus of fighters like Dr. Fate, Swamp Thing, and Enchantress, just to name a few. Number 4. The Legion of Superheroes. The Legion of Superheroes are a massive team of superpowered people from various worlds in the 30th century. They have a history of traveling through time to team up with a young Clark Kent and preventing disasters before they happen. Unfortunately for the League, this means that their most powerful member is benched for this round. A Legion member like Element Lad, who can transmute common elements, like water, into other things, could take out this version of Aquaman pretty fast, while the Chemical Kid's ability to affect the chemical reactions in the body would cause Batman to go into toxic shock. Dragonwing can breathe fire, which would make Martian Manhunter have some issues. Despite Superman being off the board for both teams, the Daxamite Mon-El has a very similar power set to the Man of Steel and would be a real challenge for Wonder Woman, especially if he teamed up with another member of the team, Superman's son John. There's no one hero who could break the Flash's stride, but considering there are like 24 Legion of Superhero members I haven't mentioned, the Legion would take this fight over the original Justice League through sheer numbers. Number 3. The Bat Family. So obviously Batman is off the table for this pair-up of the League versus the various sidekicks that Batman has trained over the years. While I don't think that the modern Bat Family could take out the original League in open combat, their experience over the years in guerrilla tactics and their access to a Bat computer full of plans designed to take out way more powerful versions of the League's heroes would give them a definite edge. But even if we take take away those plans as they were developed by Batman, the Bat family has the know-how to formulate effective contingency plans of their own. In the recent Robin in Batman miniseries, we learned that coming up with plans to take out superpowered beings was one of the first lessons Dick Grayson was taught when he was introduced to the Justice League and the Teen Titans. Characters like Tim Drake and Damian Wayne have shown a keen tactical mind, with Damian repeatedly bragging about how he would plan to take out the superheroes of the League. These Robins, teamed with other members like the various Batgirls, Batwing, Signal, and Huntress, would be more than smart enough to come up with their own plans to take out the Silver Age heroes of the League. We know they have access to kryptonite, although Damian claims to have a plane to defeat Superman in the comics that is magic-based. Dick Grayson beat up Green Lantern as a child in All-Star Batman and Robin after painting an entire room and himself yellow, so Nightwing would have no issues as an adult going up against the Silver Age version of the character. I like the mental image of Silver Age Aquaman having to try and go 10 rounds with the Red Hood, and although Flash, Martian Manhunter, and Wonder Woman would be difficult to deal with, the Bat family could take them out, and I know how cliched this sounds, if they had enough prep time. Number 2, the Green Lantern Corps. This intergalactic group of space cops use the power of will to fuel their Green Lantern rings, which allow them to create powerful constructs limited only by the user's imagination. Well, the logic I've used so far on this list on how other heroes could defeat Silver Age Green Lantern may initially sound like something the Silver Age League could use to their advantage, this weakness no longer affects the modern Green Lantern Corps. It was revealed that the weakness yellow was due to the being Parallax being trapped in the Green Lantern's central power battery on the planet Oa and causing an impurity. This impurity has since been removed, meaning that the League painting themselves yellow wouldn't help them. Both the Corps and the League obviously lose Hal Jordan due to him being on both teams, but that still leaves dozens of Green Lanterns for the 6 remaining Leaguers to try and deal with. While having the Flash, Wonder Woman, and Superman would make the League last longer than you might think, the sheer size and power of the Green Lantern Corps, with powerful members of later iterations of the League such as Jon Stewart and Guy Gardner, would make the Justice League outmatched. But maybe we'd get to see Batman take out Guy Gardner with a single punch again before it happened. Number 1, the Superman family. The Superman family might just be one of the most OP superhero teams in the DC universe, with many of its members having the same powers as the Man of Steel. In this hypothetical matchup, the Silver Age Justice League simply wouldn't stand a chance. Not only do they lose their most powerful team member due to the technicality, but they have to go up against heroes like Supergirl, Superboy, and the John Kent Superman. I think Kara Zor-El is the most interesting matchup against this version of Wonder Woman, and that Power Girl could take out Green Lantern with John Kent wiping the floor with Silver Age Aquaman. Martian Manhunter would be dangerous with his mind control, but a bolt of heat vision from Superboy would probably be sufficient. The Flash is tricky but by no means impossible to defeat in his Silver Age iteration, and honestly the biggest threat to the Super family would be Batman with his kryptonite. But Lana Lang's Superwoman is not affected by this, so she should be okay. Anyone left over from the fight would be in no condition to keep going for long, which is when the last line of defense would kick in. A super dog, cat, and monkey, all with the powers of the Man of Steel. Honestly, the Superman family is so powerful that even the modern version of the Justice League would have trouble triumphing over them if it ever came to blows between the two groups.
Alright, at number 10 we have the very silly but nonetheless evil Super Enemies. In the 1970s animated TV show Super Friends, there's an episode in 1979 called Universe of Evil, where Superman travels to an alternate universe to meet the evil counterparts to the Super Friends, very creatively named the Super Enemies. And the team is made up of all those bad guys we've all known so well and grown up with. You know, like Aquaman with an eye patch, and tinted red Batman, and oh, who could forget the iconic alien monkey Gleek. What a trailblazing team of supervillains they were. But as much as I roast them, they do actually pose a decent threat to Superman in this storyline, to the point where they team up with the military armed with kryptonite weapons, and even bring in their own version of Superman, giving our Superman a good old run for his money. But luckily, Superman Prime finds something called an antimatter flask, which turns all the super enemies back to being good again. Thank God Aquaman retires that eye patch and is no longer so intensely menacing looking. What a relief.
Number 9. Justice League of Assassins. Unfortunately, this evil Justice League didn't stick around too long. Being first introduced in Superman Volume 4, number 15 in March 2017, the Justice League of Assassins on Earth 14 were a group of augmented, mostly non-superpowered soldiers led by the obviously powerful Superman. The team was made up of Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, Batman, Harley Quinn, and Green Lantern. With the exception of Superman, their powers relied mainly on weapons and technology, but primarily they used advanced firearms. Ultimately, they were all slaughtered, with this Superman being kidnapped by Prophecy, which is a shame, because this team looked super cool and they seemed to inhabit a pretty dark and grim looking post-apocalypse. Could have been very interesting.
At number 8, we have the Conglomerate. This group is basically a bizarro version of the Justice League created by Booster Gold. The group is formed after Booster's departure from the Justice League International due to a lack of respect from his peers. When Booster first fails to bring together a competent group of heroes to form the first iteration of the Conglomerate, someone named Claire Montgomery comes in to manage the group. With her, she brings along the likes of Deadeye, an alternate Green Arrow, Fiero, a guy with fire powers, Frostbite, an ice power guy, Elastaman, a stretchy man, Element Man, much like Metamorpho, Scarab, a knockoff of Blue Beetle, and Slipstream, a dollar store Flash. When they engage in a small friendly skirmish with the Justice League International, the fight quickly turns serious, and everyone learns at once that these new members have actually been brought from an antimatter world called Quard, and they're basically just entirely evil, and always had been. Luckily, the JLI take them down, but it's a close one.
Number 7, Squadron Sinister. This isn't so much an evil alternate Justice League as this team actually appears in the Marvel universe. But I'm gonna count it because I'm just stubborn like that. The original Squadron Sinister was created as a sort of obvious play on DC Comics' Justice League characters Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, and The Flash, with the characters Hyperion, Nighthawk, Dr. Spectrum, and the hilariously named Wizard, respectively. The team was created by the Grand Master after he encountered the Squadron Supreme, and they first appeared in Avengers number 69 when they were pitted against the Avengers in a game between the Grand Master and Kang the Conqueror. They're bad guys who are counterparts to 4 members of the Justice League. I gotta stop justifying my reasons. They're on the list. Argue with me down below if you don't like it.
Alright, at number 6 we have the Justice Lords. Appearing in the animated series Justice League in the episode titled A Better World, this evil team is led by a radicalized Superman. Radicalized because he witnesses Lex Luthor murder the Flash and threaten nuclear war. So, Superman decides he'd abandon the typical hero's code of conduct and kill the bald tyrant himself. And in this alternate universe, Lex Luthor isn't just some super rich supervillain working away and hiding, he's actually worked his way to becoming the President of the United States. So, after his death, there is a power vacuum to be filled. And who would be better rulers than this evil alternate Justice League? No one. They didn't think so anyway, so they take over and put in place a totalitarian government with the justification being that they are protecting humanity from itself. And they start calling themselves the Justice Lords, which, I mean, you should sort of know you're the bad guys when the word Lord is in your title. Luckily, the real Superman is able to catch on and take them out of power before anything goes too far.
Number 5, Injustice League. Okay, so we have the Crime Syndicate of America, but there was also a team of villains put together to fight that team of villains. So, sort of technically making these villains heroes, but also not really because they're still villains. Right? The important information here is that the Injustice League, at least the one I'm referring to, was formed to combat the Crime Syndicate of America from Earth 3. The team's villainous members included Bizarro, Black Manta, Black Adam, Catwoman, Deathstroke, Sinestro or Parallax, Captain Cold, and they were formed and led by Lex Luthor. The team first appeared in Forever Evil number 3 in January of 2014 when the Crime Syndicate of America invaded the Prime Earth universe and tried, and very nearly did, take over the world.
At number 4 we have the Injustice Syndicate. I know, lots of groups with Syndicate and Injustice in their names. Well, that's because this evil version of the Justice League actually exists as a sort of combination between the Injustice League and the Crime Syndicate, both of which are included in this list respectively. Appearing in Batman the Brave and the Bold, in the episode called Deep Cover for Batman, Batman manages to travel to their evil dimension and infiltrate their operations disguised as Owlman. He sees that this group comprises of an evil version of himself, along with other evil alternate versions of other heroes he knows and works with. While eavesdropping, Batman learns of their plans to, destroy other universes entirely, which of course, he feels is something he needs to put a stop to. and it can't wait, naturally. So he decides to take all of them on himself, and because he's Batman, and it is his TV show after all, he wins. Those universes can thank him later.
Number 3. The Joker League. In Emperor Joker #1 of October 2000, the Joker has gained 99.99% of the reality warping powers of the 5th dimensional being, Mr. Mxyzptlk, and he used them to completely warp the world into an insane offshoot of our real world. In this Joker world, he has put together an evil, insane version of the Justice League called the Joker League of Anarchy. The team members include some characters we've seen before, such as Bizarro #1, Enigma, who's the Riddler, Gravedigger Lad, who is actually Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Harley Quinn, and Poison Ivy. He has also created completely new characters that are wholly original to this story: Ignition, Bounty, Schism, and Scorched. He even has Lex Luthor as a jester. They are basically just the henchmen of this already pretty much all-powerful version of the Joker. Just another way of keeping him entertained, it seems.
At number 2, I'm putting the Injustice League from the video game Injustice: Gods Among Us. Most of us already know how this story goes, but in case you don't, this is one of the cooler and more well-written storylines about an evil alternate version of the Justice League. In most cases on this list, these evil groups are created by an alternate reality, which is always fun but pretty simple to come up with. But this storyline shows a radicalized Superman leading the Justice League to the dark side. And like I said, this isn't because he's an evil version of Superman or one that's possessed by some evil force. He's genuinely turned to evil after the Joker tricks him into killing Lois Lane. So to combat this new unexpected evil force, Batman decides to bring in other members from the Justice League from another universe, and the result is some pretty great fighting gameplay. And right as the game was being released, a comic book series of the same name was also being released in tandem, serving as a prequel to the game, where you can derive general story points from the game itself. Most of the backstory I just explained actually comes from the comics. It's cool to see the video game and comic book worlds working in tandem, and they make a pretty cool new storyline that I figure has to be ranked pretty high on this list.
Number 1. The Crime Syndicate of America. The Crime Syndicate of America hails from the strength-obsessed Earth 3, and is a twisted, evil version of many characters who make up the main universe Justice League of America. Its members include Ultraman in place of Superman, Thomas Wayne Jr., aka Owlman, and Alfred Pennyworth as the Outsider, Superwoman, who was Lois Lane at one point and Donna Troy at another, the cowardly Harold Jordan and vengeful John Stewart, who are both Power Ring, which are evil Green Lanterns, at different times, John Allen and John Chambers separately also as Johnny Quick, Atomica, Sea King, Deathstorm, Grid, and John Johns. They come into contact with the main universe many times, and they almost always spell out bad news, as you'd expect from the antithesis to the